What if overnight every drop of ocean water on Earth were replaced with soda? Not metaphorically, literally. The Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, and Southern Oceans, all bubbling with carbonated sweetness. A fizzy, sticky, syrupy sea stretching across the globe. It's the kind of idea that sounds like a child's dream and a scientist's nightmare. But let's dive in, carefully, because the bubbles are aggressive. First, the sheer volume of soda involved would be staggering. Earth's oceans contain about 1.332 billion cubic kilometers of water. That's roughly 1.332 billion trillion liters. To replace that with soda, we'd need every soda factory on Earth working nonstop for millions of years. But let's skip the logistics and assume it just happens. One morning the tide rolls in, not with salt water, but with cola. The waves hiss and fizz as they crash against the shore, leaving behind a sticky residue and the unmistakable scent of artificial caramel. The immediate impact would be catastrophic. Marine life, adapted over billions of years to survive in saline water, would be obliterated. Fish, plankton, whales, coral reefs, all gone. Soda is acidic, sugary, and devoid of oxygen. It's a death trap for anything that breathes, filters, or floats. Jellyfish might last a few minutes longer, but even they would succumb to the syrupy apocalypse. The oceans would become vast, lifeless vats of chemical soup. And then there's the atmosphere. Oceans play a crucial role in regulating Earth's climate. They absorb carbon dioxide, distribute heat, and generate weather patterns. Soda oceans wouldn't do any of that. In fact, they'd release carbon dioxide as they degassed, adding to the greenhouse effect. The planet would heat up. Storms would become erratic. Rain might start smelling like root beer. Hurricanes would churn through the sticky seas, flinging soda onto coastal cities like a giant shaken bottle. Shipping would grind to a halt. Ships aren't designed to float in syrup. The increased viscosity would slow them down, clog their engines, and coat their hulls in sugar. Ports would become unusable. Global trade would collapse. And let's not forget the smell. Imagine every beach, every harbor, every coastline reeking of flat soda and rotting sea creatures. Tourism? Gone. Surfing? Not unless you enjoy being exfoliated by carbonic acid. But humans are adaptable. Within weeks, someone would try to monetize the disaster. Ocean cola would hit the shelves. Influencers would post videos of themselves swimming in soda, emerging sticky and triumphant. Soda-resistant wetsuits would become a fashion trend. Billionaires would build floating platforms to host syrup-themed parties. Someone would inevitably try to bottle the ocean and sell it as artisanal deep-sea soda. Meanwhile, scientists would scramble to understand the long-term consequences. The soda would seep into groundwater, contaminating freshwater supplies. Agriculture would suffer. Crops don't grow well when irrigated with Mountain Dew. Animals would refuse to drink. Rivers flowing into the soda oceans would carry their own ecosystems to their doom. The hydrological cycle would be corrupted. Evaporation would still occur, but the resulting precipitation might carry traces of sugar and phosphoric acid. Acid rain, rebranded as soda drizzle, and then there's the human body. Swim in soda long enough and your skin begins to break down. The acidity irritates. The sugar feeds bacteria. Cuts get infected. Eyes sting. Hair becomes crunchy. It's not a spa treatment. It's a slow chemical peel. Rescue operations would be complicated. Helicopters couldn't land on soda-coated decks. Lifeboats would stick to the surface. Coast guards would need entirely new equipment. Eventually, governments would convene emergency summits. Could we reverse it? Could we filter the soda back into water? The answer would be, not really. The scale is too massive. Desalination plants struggle with salt water. Soda's worse. It's a complex mixture of sugars, acids, caffeine, and artificial flavors. Filtering it would require technology we don't have. The best we could do is isolate pockets of clean water and protect them like liquid gold. Religions might interpret the event as divine punishment. Prophets would rise, preaching the dangers of excess and artificiality. "Thou shalt not carbonate creation," they'd proclaim. Artists would paint sticky sunsets over syrupy waves. Poets would write odes to the lost oceans. Children would grow up never knowing the sound of real waves, only the hiss of fizz and the crunch of dried sugar underfoot. In the end, replacing the oceans with soda wouldn't just be a quirky hypothetical. It would be a planetary reset, a reminder that nature, for all its complexity, is delicately balanced, and that even the sweetest ideas can turn sour when scaled to global proportions.